So I do a lot of videos on restoring and using antique Stanley planes like this one right here. And those videos are pretty popular, but I get a lot of viewers who get in touch and say, hey, I love your plane videos, but where I live, those planes are either too expensive or they don't exist. So as much as I like your videos, they don't do me much good. And I'm listening, I'm paying attention when I hear stuff like that. So I'm always thinking about alternatives for people who are in that situation who can't fix up old planes. And I think I found a good one. This is a Chinese or Hong Kong style jack plane. I bought it for $25 with free shipping. They're available on Amazon, AliExpress, and maybe Banggood. I don't remember, but I will put links to a number of different distributors down in the description so you'll be able to get one no matter what. And the thing that makes this plane exciting is if this really is a good jack plane, for $25 with free shipping, this is a game changer for cash-strapped home woodworkers. Are you excited? Because I'm very excited. So the construction of this plane is encouraging. This is some sort of Asian hardwood that I just haven't seen before. It looks a little bit like sapele, but it's not that either. What does matter about this is that the wood is very tight-grained, very straight-grained, dense and heavy. I have every reason to believe that this plane is going to be dimensionally stable and durable enough to make a good tool. You might notice this handle in the back here, and this is a tapered handle in a tapered hole, so it's very easy just to knock it out. You can even do it barehanded. And then the plane is a lot more like a Japanese plane that you might be familiar with. The handle is for pushing it, but if you take the handle out, then it can be pulled or used sideways or a bunch of different things. So you have numerous different options for how you want to use the plane. Now let's check out the guts. This is a traditionally made plane with a wedge. The wedge is nothing impressive. It's made from a different wood than the body. It's lightweight, not super well finished. I might make another one of these in the future. That's like an hour project, so I'm not concerned about it. The blade is really deserving of special attention. It's pretty good. First of all, it's quite thick, substantially thicker than my Stanley irons, which is going to be helpful especially for doing heavy work. It's also a double iron. You can see that it's got a chip breaker and a nice big chromed screw holding the whole thing together. I think especially for a jack plane, having a double iron setup like this is crucial. Now this iron is a little bit under 1 3/4 and it's a bit narrower than a standard Stanley plane iron, but honestly who cares? That's not really going to make any difference. The iron is pretty crisp and accurate, and it's already sharpened to a good bevel. It just needs a mild honing. The overall machining on the iron and the chip breaker is too rough for my taste. It was obviously ground pretty roughly, and so the surface is quite poor, and then also the edges are very sharp. So we're going to need to do some work to this iron to get it a little bit more usable. Looking at the plane itself, it's surprisingly similar to the European-style wooden planes that I have. It's just a mortised-out opening with traditional abutments, a wear angle, an escapement for the chips. The work here is precise but slightly rough. All the surfaces are nice and smooth, and it's been chamfered and relieved everywhere that you would want for chip clearance, but there's some tear out, some splintering, some ragged edges. These are all things that don't make a difference functionally, but the plane was obviously made somewhat quickly and not finished to a high degree. That's not a problem because we can just do that ourselves. Now the one detail I really do want to point out is that the mouth of the plane actually has a very thick piece of brass inset to fight wear right here. And that's a high-end feature that you would not expect to see in a $25 plane. It should keep that mouth from opening and extend the life of the plane dramatically. First thing I want to do is check out the bottom of the plane. And this one is very much not flat. It's got significant hollows right in front of the throat, at the toe, and at the heel. And I'm going to want to correct those before I try and use the plane. Now, typically, I would just put this in the vise and take a finely set plane and just plane the bottom flat. But here's where this brass insert actually works against us. We can't plane it because the iron is going to hit that brass. What we're going to do instead is just take a piece of sandpaper stuck down to a nice flat piece of glass and work it back and forth until the bottom is flat. While you're doing this, you want to have the iron and the wedge installed, but have the iron pulled back in the mouth so that it's at least 1/4 of an inch up in the body of the plane. You want the plane body under tension, so it's whatever shape it's going to be while you're using it, while you're flattening it. Otherwise, you could get it flat, then get the iron and wedge in, and the plane body will distort, and it won't be flat anymore. As far as I know, the plane body is good to go now, so I'm going to turn my attention to the iron and the chip breaker. The iron is basically good, but I don't like how rough the machining is on the faces, and I don't like the sharpness on the edges and the corners. So I'm going to go back to my piece of sandpaper stuck to glass, and I'm going to work over both faces. I'm just using a welding magnet here to hold the plane while I work on it. That way I don't have to try and grip it with the edges or rub all the skin off the tips of my fingers. Once the faces are done, I'm going to work on the edges and the sides. When all that's done, I'm just going to sharpen it up. Now the plane's totally prepped and ready to test. I did do a little bit of work polishing the front edge of the chip breaker just so the shavings will glide out a little bit more smoothly. And now I'm going to test this plane out by edge planing this chunk of white ash. This is the first shaving I've ever tried to take with this plane. Let's see what happens. Okay, that iron is set way too rank. Let me pull that back a little. Okay, not enough iron. Okay, almost there. Okay. Okay, so while I futz around with this and try to get a slightly better shaving, I'd like to give a shout out to John Zhu. At least I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce his last name. He has a really great channel that I've been watching recently, and he has a video where he actually builds one of these Chinese-style planes from scratch and also shows how to use it. So from John's video, I learned that these planes can be pushed or pulled. Right now I'm using it in push mode, and what you do there is you grab the handles with each hand, and you can put your thumbs behind the iron or just curl them under. I like the under grip. And then you lay your index fingers on the side, and then you just push. It's a little unusual compared to what you might be used to with, say, a Stanley style plane, but it works just fine. And it seems pretty ergonomic because I'm using both my shoulders and my back and my arms. And so it's more even wear and tear on my body. Here's the first shaving that I've gotten, and it's decent. It is not bad. I'm doing a little bit of lateral adjusting to the plane, because I can see that iron is not as even as it could be. So we'll even that out. Try some more shavings. Hello! Yes. This is what we are looking for. This thing cuts. After a little bit more adjusting and fiddling around, I'm getting some incredibly consistent, nice shavings off this plane. These are full length, full width, very thin. I don't know if you can see this on camera, but you can just about see through these, and they're nothing. They're less than paper when you pull on them. And the plane is behaving very consistently. One shaving is just like another, and the surface of the board is really good. Now, of course, almost any plane can edge plane. Let's do some face work with this and see what happens. Same board, but turned sideways. Okay, so this grip it's a little tricky. Yeah, even with my thumbs tucked behind the blade, my knuckles are still hitting the sides of the board. I think it could be that my hands are just too big for this style of plane, or I'm not maybe using it exactly the right way. Now the good news is that even though that isn't working very well, you don't even have to use this stick at all. And I'm going to try using this plane in its pull mode. Okay. Okay, so No problem there. These are some nice shavings. The surface of the board is very good. Let's check for flatness. Pretty flat. Not bad at all, as a matter of fact. Now, it's very nice that this plane will do a face and an edge pretty decently, but if this is going to be somebody's all-around jack plane, it needs to do a lot more. One thing it needs to do well is chamfers, especially on the edges of boards. So let's try it on this Endgrain right here. Not bad. The result there is even, no tearing or breakout, and I've got a nice surface. Next thing I want to try is doing the RS of the board, taking off the sharp edges that are left from the face planing. For this, I want the plane to be very light and maneuverable and just to glide over the board quickly and take off a nice little spaghetti shaving. And yeah, again, I don't see any problem with this. Yeah, this is exactly the same performance I would expect from one of my Stanleys. It's good so far. Now, a lot of people will use a block plane for Endgrain, but I don't really use block planes very often. I don't find them more useful than bench planes. So in a good all-around bench plane, I also want it to be able to do Endgrain. Let's see what happens there. This is good. It's taking good shavings. They've got some nice curl to them. They're good length. The surface is good. I'm not sure it's as good as my Stanley, but on the Endgrain of white ash, I'm not expecting miracles. This is still pretty smooth, pretty good work. My preliminary tests on that piece of ash came back really well. But the little bit of testing I've done so far, it doesn't tell us enough. So I'm going to take the next half hour or 45 minutes and really put this thing through its paces. I'm going to plane white oak, purple heart, sapele, rock maple, and then, without sharpening, I'm also going to hit it on a piece of white pine and see what kind of edge retention we get from the iron. So I've been using this plane all afternoon. I've thrown a bunch of different hardwoods at it, and you know what? I'm pretty impressed. Now, the ergonomics and shape take a little bit of getting used to, especially if you're more accustomed to traditional Western planes. There's no handle, and you have to adjust your grip and try a few different things. But there's an upside to that too. If you've been curious about Japanese planes but not willing to put up with all the effort of tapping the iron in the back and all that stuff I don't really understand, well, here's a plane that you also pull, much like a Japanese plane, but the iron is much more traditional. It has a traditional chip breaker. It's fairly easy to adjust. The learning curve here is really easy. I picked it up in an afternoon. The other big advantage to the fact that you can swing this around and really use it in any direction is there was a point, for instance, when I was working on my Purple Heart, where I was getting a lot of tear out. And usually I would take the board out of the vise, flip it around, and then keep planing. But with this plane, I just flipped the plane around and started going from the other direction. And then once I had finally gotten a few good shavings, I checked out the surface and I was very impressed. Purple Heart is a hard, tough wood, but this plane left an excellent surface, just as good as I would get from my metal planes. And then while I was planing the maple is when I thought I had the first big shortcoming of the plane. I was getting a lot of chatter, a lot of tear out. It was just a terrible surface, wasn't working well at all. And I thought, well, okay, nice try, Chinese plane. I'm going to bust out my Stanley No. 5 and take care of this. Well, I took out the No. 5, and if anything, things were worse. I still got the same tear out. It really turns out it's just a crap piece of wood. Lots of reversing grain. There's some knots under the surface. It had nothing to do with the plane. I will point out a couple of things that I think are issues with this plane. I didn't find the stick arrangement and the pushing, that didn't work for me at all. Maybe it's because I have big hands. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Feel free to correct me down in the comments if you know more about these than I do. You couldn't know any less. And then the other thing that I've noticed is after an afternoon of work, I do see some scratches in the sole of the plane. They're not deep, they're not cracks or anything like that, but they're more significant than I have on any of my beach hand planes. This feels like a hard wood, but it's showing a little bit more wear. So I don't know how this plane is going to hold up after years and years of use, and maybe that's why the brass mouth insert is in there. Maybe this wood doesn't last forever and it needs a little bit of reinforcement. But all that being said, what do I think about this plane? I think it's pretty damn great, honestly. I think that particularly if you were a beginning woodworker or if you were just looking to branch out into a different style of plane, 25 bucks for this, it's a slam dunk. This is not a lot of money and it doesn't take very much work to get the plane up and running. I had it ready to go in probably an hour, and then I used it for another hour, went through a ton of different timbers, never even sharpened the iron. The iron is still sharp, the plane looks fine, cosmetically fine. It's a good tool. And for $25 with free shipping, I mean, you could buy it just for fun. Now, while we're talking about that, let's talk economics. I paid full retail for this plane, which is what I pay for all the tools you see on this channel. I'm unsponsored and I don't take free stuff from anybody. The downside of that is that this video is going to have to get at least 10,000 views for me to make $25 in AdSense money. Which means I need $10,000 just to not lose money on this. And then only after I hit 10,000, only then do I actually start making money off of this. Those economics do not work out. And the only thing that really makes this channel profitable when I do stuff like buy this out of my own pocket is Patreon. My patrons are the ones who make it possible for me to make content like this and still pay for things like food and the mortgage. And I appreciate them so much. If you like cheap tool reviews, and if you like the videos that I make on how to get started in woodworking, consider going over to patreon.com/RexKruger and throwing a couple dollars in the hat. It's those contributions that make it possible for me to make videos like this without losing money and still feed my kid. And that means a lot to me. I've recently switched over to full-time content creation, and I'm at a time now where I'm struggling a little bit to make a living. My business is growing, and I'm very excited about it, but I need it to grow even more. So if you want to be a part of that, and if you want to support unsponsored, unbiased content, you can sponsor me. Go to Patreon and throw in a couple dollars. I appreciate it more than I could ever say. And either way, I really appreciate just having viewers, so thanks for watching.